Welcome to Mrs. Stanich's studio. Today I wanted to show you guys a demonstration of oil paint. This is what ideally we would like for you guys to use for your portrait painting, but as everybody is home, you guys can use whatever tools and painting materials that you have, but we're still going to be working on a portrait. I wanted to introduce you guys to our water mixable oil color. So this is the kind that we use at school. It's the Winsor & Newton. The water mixable oil color. This is a fantastic brand and a good paint. Being at home, you guys don't have to purchase this particular kind. Obviously, get what you guys can get. If not, we can use other mediums and materials too for our portrait. But in the meantime, you guys can learn a little bit more about this. So as you guys can notice, I started the palette. And in the palette, this paint comes in a much larger clumps. Very unlikely. Remember when we used our watercolor, it was like a very small little dab of paint. Here with, or actually with our acrylic, it was like runnier. Here with the oil, it's going to be much thicker type of consistency. So I'm going to show you guys how the paint actually comes out for your palette. For this particular type of paint, we need to use a palette knife to be able to take paint and add and do mixing tables or mixing areas. So this is a great way to pick up the paint and move it, and it can also be used as a tool on your canvas. We are using our hog hair bristle brushes. You will not use the nylon brushes because the nylon brushes aren't going to be strong enough to pick up this type of consistency of paint. This paint also stays wet for a long time, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about that and show you guys a demonstration. So in my palette, I have some Yellow Orchard. I have some cadmium yellow, which is right here. I have used permanent alizarin crimson, phthalo blue, I have phthalo green, which these are a cool color palette, and I have Payne's gray. Trying not to use black. I'm trying to avoid black in my paintings. Payne's gray is a nice painting or a nice tool. And then we obviously have titanium white as well. All right, so with this, as you can see, I touched all this oil paint. This is going to get everywhere. It's actually already gotten on my paper. So you need to be careful with your paints. And you can see as I move it, it just gets messier and messier. Oil paint will get on your clothes and it will stain. So it's very important for you guys to maybe wear a protective layer as well. Now with the water mixable, I am using water as a thinner and as a solvent. And I'm going to show you guys what this looks like as we start to paint. So I'm just going to start off with a brush, and I'm going to choose, I did get it wet with some water, and you can see it actually thins the paint a little. Since I had blue on here, this is what we're going to do. Now, I want you guys to notice, do you see how you can see some of the canvas coming through? This is still a very thin paint. Ultimately, with oil paint, you're going to be picking up globs of paint. And you can be using globs of paint. You can have some really amazing textures with the paint, and it can go on much thicker. Now, this is very dark, so what I'm going to do is take some of my titanium white, and I'm going to mix it just right on to my page here, onto my canvas, practice canvas, so you guys can see how this looks. Let's see if I can zoom in there a little bit so you guys can see a better view. Okay, so with this, the paint is very wet. It is not going to dry anytime soon. So something you could do if you want to do some blending with this, you can take a dry brush. So this is a brush I have not used. There's absolutely no water, no linseed oil or anything on here. I can take this and I can blend the paint, and I can manipulate and move the paint on the canvas right there. Okay, so you can see you get some really neat effects and some nice looks. This is like a dry brush effect. Getting some of these really beautiful blending techniques, they do in oil, you could do dry brush, and you can get some of this mixture of color. They call that sfumato. So working with blending some of your paint and getting some of these really beautiful mixtures. Notice how I have not put any more paint on this canvas, but you can see how I can still continue to go through and blend with just a dry brush. Now I want to clean my brush, or let's say I want to manipulate and make this paint go even further on here, but without giving more transparency. We actually have items you could use with water mixable, and there is a linseed oil. Now, these are more expensive. We have these in the classroom for you guys to use, but obviously at home, if you guys only have water, you can absolutely just use water. I'm going to take a brush, get some water on it, and show you guys the difference. So here's adding some of the water, and it will thin the paint and make it more transparent, but you can manipulate and move the paint around. Now, if I was to take a brush, and I took a little bit of this linseed oil and put it in a small container because you don't really need a lot. Basically what this does is it conditions your paint, and it's going to make it really silky and smooth, so you can manipulate this paint a lot more on the canvas. It may give you some transparency with it, and so that's the case, you can always add more paint, but instead of it being dry like it was earlier, it just makes it silky smooth to be able to move and manipulate the paint. Now, as we get going with these paintings, a lot of things happen where we're in a hurry. We have deadlines, got to get things done, but the paint's not drying fast enough. They also have something that's called a fast drying medium. This fast drying medium can be used with your paint as well. Again, you don't need a lot. But this works very, very similar to a linseed oil. And when you add that in, it also makes it very silky smooth. But this will actually give a reaction to the paint, so it'll dry much faster. So you can layer on top of this quicker. So that means you won't be able to do a lot of blending. So you want to get it done quickly and first before you move any further with it. Okay, so this is the intro to working with oil. For the next video, I'm going to show you guys how to do an underpainting for your portrait, and we will go from there. So if you guys have questions, please let me know. Feel free to leave a comment and or shoot me an email, and hopefully I can answer any questions and help you guys out with the materials and the mediums that you guys have at home. So I hope everybody's doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.